Hello and welcome along to another episode of this Snooker 19 career with me, Daniel. It's episode 24 and today we're into the penultimate event of the season. It's round 1 of the China Open and we face world number 17 Ryan Day, another new opponent from the upper echelons of the world rankings. So it's going to be a difficult game. We're already part way through it as usual when we come back, and we've got £5,000 to play for as we look to break into the top 32, needing just a bit of prize money to do so. So hopefully we'll be able to get over the line after a disastrous Snooker Championship League. Obviously we showed episodes from that in the last 2 weeks and we did fall flat on our face in that one. Just 2 wins out of the 6 group games and we went out of the tournament with a bit of a whimper. If we look at our pro, we've sort of lost our good record recently. We've lost 6 of the last 7 matches, of course most of those being in that league championship, though we are 1-0 up against Ryan Day today in a best of 3 frame match. So hopefully we'll get back to form as we move back to ranking tournaments, and it's going to make a big impact towards the end of the year, as this is the last chance we've got to warm up for the World Championships. It's a chance to get our second trophy of the year as well. After a run of finals and semi-finals a bit earlier, we have gone off the boil slightly recently, so it's a good chance for us to recover and take our career earnings past 150,000. If we look at the rankings, you can see that we're 13,000 away from the top 32 and a few more reputable players up there, the likes of Mark Davis and Mark King, Martin Gould as well, and then there's a bit of a step up to Anthony McGill, who's in 25th place at the moment. We want to add that second trophy to the cabinet though, still just the Scottish Open so far, and we obviously had a Welsh Open final too, and a semi-final appearance in the Gibraltar Open. So you know we're 1-0 up against Ryan Day, we just need to win one of the next 2 frames, and we'll be back in a moment for our break-off as we try and do it with a frame to spare. Here we go then, it's England v Wales, Ronnie O'Sullivan v Ryan Day. We're breaking off in the second frame, our usual 40% off the outside of the pack, pretty defensive break off and doesn't really leave too many opportunities for our opponent. We've cannoned into the yellow but we've still managed to get free and we haven't left any reds on. A decent break off shot for starters. It's Ryan Day with the safety though, just catches the outside of the red, and it looks like we are going to be getting involved in safety exchanges. That is part of the reason we'd lost some of those group league games, is we'd been trying to practice them a little bit and they had caught us out on occasions. So I think we'll have to go off the outside red again here, as there's not much else left on, and hopefully we'll get up behind the cue ball, behind the ball colours sorry, and if we're in behind brown and green, I think that's a pretty good shot. It's not got the best angle on it, we've cannoned into the brown this time, and we're knocking all the ball colours safe, but the reds are safe too, which is most important. Ryan Day with his own safety shot, goes off the red on one cushion, but he seems to have brought the red up the table too, and we could be left a pot on here. I think he might have got away with it, though we could still make it with a thin cut. Let's try and see if we can put this in the corner pocket. Shouldn't actually be as difficult as it first looked, and we may be able to screw down the table as well, just to try and get on blue to middle. Even if not, we can get onto the black, just to give ourselves a chance to start a break. 35% power, we've overhit it very slightly. Are we going to stay on the blue? We're not, but I think we might be okay on the black, as long as the pink's not in the way, and then we can start to build a decent break here. The black's going to be potted quite easily, and we've got to try and screw up for the red now. It should be quite easy off the cushion, and from there we've just got to try and split the pack. The black goes into the middle of the pocket and we've got that red just above the black spot, so it's another red and colour that's going to be easy, but we've got to get an angle to go into the pack from here. So we're going to screw back and try and stay low on the black, and fingers crossed that will allow us to go into the reds, and from there it's just about luck. Are we going to be able to do it? We took our eye off the pot though, and the red goes off the jaws of the pocket. It's fallen safe, which is lucky for us, but we're going to be back in the safety exchanges. Ryan Day plays another defensive one, but he's got the cue ball to a very good position, so it's going to be hard for us to attack from here. We can come off the outside of the pack though, as he's left us a clear run at them, so we should be able to play a pretty aggressive safety here. It's just whether we can get the cue ball safe again. We've overhit it slightly and that may come back to haunt us, but are we going to get up lucky behind the brown? It looks like we're going to just go past it, but I'm not sure whether there's an easy red on there. Just one tempting long one to the bottom right corner. Let's see if Ryan Day goes for it. It certainly looks like it, and he pots the red and goes perfectly onto the blue, and with the reds pretty nicely spread now, he may well build a big break from here. We'll let him go and get on with that, and we'll be back at the table if we get another chance. Okay, we're back at the table and we've been given a chance by Ryan Day. He rushed to 24, looked really fluent on his way to doing so, but then misses a simple red. So we're back at the table now and we're going to try and pot one, and then most importantly it's getting up for a colour, the bit that looked most difficult from the shot. I think we've got the blue pretty straight to the top corner. The black's out of play at the moment. It's in a bit of an awkward position, but I think that blue should go comfortably to the corner pocket, and we should be able to screw back as well, not needing too much power on it, and being able to stay on the red for the bottom left corner. So let's make sure the blue goes in, just over 40% power, doesn't even touch the jaws of the pocket. A fantastic pot, and we're on to the red, but with all of the colours up the table, it's really difficult to keep coming up for them. We've got to try and find a way to get the black back on its spot, and we've got to centralise that cue ball spin there, as we don't want any unfavourable side off the cushion. So we're going to try and screw forward here, even if it does mean coming back up for the blue, but we've got to make sure the red goes in first. That's the most important thing, and we've come high enough for the blue again, so a pretty good shot on this occasion. The black's going to have to stay out of play a bit longer, and not even having the backup of the baulk colours does mean you have to be very careful with position. So we're just going to roll this blue in, 15% power, and we've got an easy red to the middle, which should allow us one more easy blue. I'm not sure why it wants us to take on a red down there. We're just going to put this red into the left middle pocket, and we should be able to hold for the blue pretty nicely, and then it's just about whether we can get down for the red. 18% power, we might get a tiny bit of angle. We almost caught the cue ball a little bit over here, but we get away with it, and the blue should be straightforward, and then it's just whether we can find a loose red from the pack. There's one loose at the bottom of the table, of course, but that's going to be very difficult to get on from here. Not much angle at all on this blue, and overhitting the shot has really cost us. I'm going to see if we can get into a good position, even so we can play an attack in safety, as it doesn't look like there's a pot on from here, so we're going to have to think about a different route. That third successive blue does put us in the lead though, and we've managed to set up a red here that we think might go. We could end in disaster here by cannoning into the other red, but we're going to go for it and test our luck. Fingers crossed it'll pass the other. That is an absolute disaster. We crash into everything and we should have been more conservative. It just shows that we're too attacking in our instincts, and sometimes it doesn't work out. So Ryan Day back at the table with a pretty good opportunity, and we've just got to hope he gives us one more chance at the table. He's made an absolute hash of that first red. It goes in, but the positioning's awful, so let's see if he can pop this blue first. He doesn't, he misses and he doesn't get away with it. He's even brought the brown down the table a bit, so we've got a real good chance to win this frame here. We've just got to pot a tricky first red. Let's try and get it into the bottom right corner. Pretty narrow angle, but it should be potable, and then if it goes in, the natural angle should take us round the cushions and get us back up the table for either the blue or the black. So let's go for 50%, try and get round that red at the bottom. The first one goes in, but we've cannoned into the other red, and we've not got much luck with position. I think we might have just got away with green up the table. It's come off the cushion enough to go in the corner, and if we can pot this one it will be game on, as we'll have one of the baulk colours back on its spot. We've got to screw forward to get down the table too, about 60% power, which does make the pot a bit more of a risk. The green goes in, the cue ball comes flying back down the table, off the top cushion and then back up for the reds. That looks a pretty decent shot. We've got one to the middle and one to the bottom corner, and it looks like we can get to the potting angle of both. We've chosen to go for the red to the middle pocket just because it'll allow us to get the black back on its spot, and it's really difficult because we're so tight to the cushion. We can't screw back for the blue off the lower red. So let's just make sure we get this red in, try and screw through for the black. We've just got to edge past it, and although we get a little nudge, it's perfectly straight and we're going to get the pot. And in fact we've just got enough of an angle to come off it, which should leave us perfectly on that red at the bottom corner. We've got a chance to screw forward if need be, and we could even come for one of the higher reds, so I think we're going to do that. In fact, try and get on the other red to the bottom corner pocket. But I'm not quite sure if it passes yet, so there's so many risks I don't know whether they're worth taking. But for now we're just going to make sure we pop the black, and then if we get on a decent red, then that's a fantastic outcome. The black goes in, the red's going to be potable, and we should be able to get back up for a colour after, and the frame's certainly in our hands. A lead of 13 points, and we've got our hand on the table now. So hopefully that will bode well for us as we try and find an angle off the cue ball here. We've got to try and screw back a little bit, but without causing too much difficulty. And about 40% power as the red goes in should bring us back up nicely for the black. A good angle to get up for the higher reds as well, and this frame is certainly going to be won soon, providing we don't make any silly mistakes. The black's going to go into the corner nicely. We can screw back up for the red just below the pink. As long as we don't put too much power on it, it should be a comfortable easy pot. 39% power, the black goes in, and we're on to the red, which will free up the pink. This couldn't have gone much more perfectly, but it should be a comfortable 2-0 win after a disappointing Snooker League Championship. We might even screw through here. I don't know if we need to take the risk though. We could just come back up for the brown, certainly a much easier option. So 47% power's the aim. We've overhit it to 50, but the brown's going to be onto the top corner pocket, and the green's the security if we need it. I've decided, possibly quite sensibly, that we're not going to worry about the brown. There's just an element of risk, so we're going to leave it for now, pot the green instead, and try and get a decent angle onto the red. We don't mind if it's a long pot, as we're strong from those angles. We've just got to make sure it's relatively straight, and we seem to have done that with this one. With this red and then a colour, as long as it's a higher value one, it should mean that we're not going to be able to concede the frame, unless our opponent gets the red and the black, followed by all of the colours to clear up. So we've just got to try and pop this red now, hold for the black for the full 7 points. The red's going to trickle in, I think. It looks like we've hit it pretty straight, and we've got past the blue, so we're on for the black, and now we've got to find an angle for the red. It's going to be difficult with the pot we've just put in, but either way, as long as we can get to it, we'll make sure we play a good safety shot. Plenty of power to come back up the table, and hopefully off 2 cushions we can get on the red. That looks an absolutely perfect shot. We've come past the pink spot beautifully, and as long as we pot this red, it's frame over, and with that match over, we can get to the potting angle, screw back up for the pink. We could not have asked for much more than this. A fantastic return to form. 44% power, the red drops in. We've won our first round match at the China Open. The pink will go in to confirm it and stop Ryan Day coming back to the table, and the break will probably end there, as it's going to be difficult to get on the yellow. Let's just try and get as far up the table as possible, and hope we avoid putting the cue ball as well. The pink goes in. We're not going to snooker ourselves on the green, are we? I thought it was going to roll a bit further for a minute, but in the end we get away with it, and we can just play an exhibition shot on the yellow. We'll try and put it in with power down the cushion, but I don't think that's going to work out, and we're just going to shake hands after this shot. We miss off the jaws, and it goes safe. No blue going into the pocket. That could have left us in a world of difficulty, but in the end we get away with it. A 2-0 victory in a best of 3 frame match, a victory against Ryan Day, and a second round place at the China Open with 5,000 more prize money on the ranking table. We got 136 of the 193 points won in that match, and a highest break of 39. Not completely fluent, but we look pretty good at the table. So we'll go and find out who our second round opponent is, and then we'll plan when we're going to be back for our next episode. If it's a massive name, we'll probably show a bit of action. If not, we'll try and go on a little bit of a run, and maybe even come back for the World Championships. I'd like to get to a final in the warm-up, but it's going to be easier said than done. Well, look who it is. It's Judd Trump again. The world number 4. We said it was going to be a big name. We obviously got knocked out by him in the Gibraltar Open, our last ranking competition, I believe. So we're going to try and play through this match. If it goes to a tense decider, and it's looking like it'll be close, then we may well show it next Friday. But if not, we'll either go through the rounds if we get through easily, or we'll come back for the first round of the World Championship qualifiers if we get knocked out by Trump. But if you did enjoy this episode and that return to form against Ryan Day, and seeing a new opponent on the channel of course, please do put a thumbs up on the video. Let me know down in the comments what you thought of our recent performances. We seem to really struggle in the Championship League. I don't know if it was potentially my mentality, thinking I could experiment and try and learn and adapt to different games, partly because it was a non-ranking event, so I didn't have to worry too much about the outcome. But we're very much focused on the China Open, trying to get back to form and shocking Judd Trump, and then if not, not, we're going to be into the World Championships, which our whole season has built up to, the big season finale in Sheffield. So hopefully you'll come and join me over the next few weeks as we go through to the end of the season, and I'd love to go on a super run in the World Championships and emulate Ronnie O'Sullivan. Subscribe to the channel for daily FM19 content from two different stories. Firstly, my short-term challenge, that's a new one called Saving the Giant. Then there's my long-term one club story with Torquay United. That one's been going for months now. We're well into season 15 and in fact coming towards the climax of that one. It's been a fantastic season and certainly the most dramatic one of the series. My personal favourite as well. So if you're not up to date with the current season, please do go and check it out. There's also 3 episodes a week from my Cricket 19 career. That's every Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday at midday. A massive thank you to everyone that continues to support that series, as well as the Ashes Test playthrough we did beforehand. Then finally, this Snooker 19 career continues every Friday at 4:30. At the very least, we're going to make it to the end of the season, so we've got a fair few more weeks of this one to come yet. But I hope you continue to enjoy the content on the channel. A massive thank you for your continued support and watching this one as always, and I hope to see you next time for another big episode as we try to push for another trophy heading into the finale at the World Championships.